Well, I'm at the London Film Memorabilia Convention in Westminster. It's quite a special event. They're looking back at the 50th anniversary of Goldfinger, and they've got one or two English comedy stars here as well. I've been talking to Geoffrey Holland from Heidi High, You Rang My Lord, Oh Dr. Beeching, and he's been telling me about how he first met up with Croft and Perry and how his career bloomed from that. Geoffrey, you've had a long association with Perry and Croft. How did that come about?
Well, I first met them in 1975 when I did the Dad's Army stage show. That was my first introduction to them. I went for an audition I didn't want to do, and I made him laugh, and I got the job. Then on to one of the happiest years I've spent in the theatre of my life. 6 months at West End, 6 months on tour. And as a result of that, it sort of snowballed into doing Ain't Half Hot Mum, Are You Being Served for David, and of course when they wrote Heidi High eventually, they wrote Spike with me in mind, which was very, very nice to know. And then that snowballed onto You Rang My Lord, and then of course I know Dr. Beeching. Pollard, Shane and I became known as the A-Team. It was like this TV carry-on lot, you know.
Yeah.
But we were lucky, we were very lucky to be able to be kept together.
Yeah.
Because David kept us together because I suppose we were, you know, we were different, but we were friends and we appreciated each other, we respected each other, because we were three very different people.
Right.
You know, we worked so well together. David's repertory company really, it was, or in the theatre, I mean that's how I started. I was lucky, I was one of the lucky actors who got into repertory. Yeah. You know, and I learnt my trade from the ground up, really. But working with David Croft's lot, you were working with the same people in and out, you know, just guest people popping in. Yeah. I mean, Barbara New was in an episode of Heidi High, and then of course she turns up in You Rang My Lord as the Char, you know, and so did Brenda Cowling. Brenda was in Heidi High as a cameo, and there she is as the cook. And then with You Rang My Lord, of course, David, at the pick of his crop, he picked the two officers from Ain't Half Hot as the aristocracy. Yeah. He got the vicar and the warden from Dad's Army as the policeman and the bishop, and then the three of us again, and of course all the surrounding supporting company in there. Some of them had been in many of David's shows before, and some of them were new, and of course David kept on using the same people. And it was the same with Beeching. We said old friends popping into the old Dr. Beeching, which was sadly short-lived.
I have to say that was one of my favourite shows.
It had such potential, you know, there was a lot more we could have got out of it there. But the BBC, in its infinite wisdom, in 1996, axed it after just 2 series, claiming that it didn't do the ratings that they wanted. Well, they messed it about, that's why. Nobody knew when it was on, they kept changing it. Sunday evenings, you know, and then they'd take it off for 2 weeks and put some athletics on, and then they'd bring it back and nobody knew it was back.
In fact,
you know, and then they say, well, it was a damn shame, but we could have got more out of it. Never mind, let's move on.
What was your favourite series?
Well, it has to be You Rang My Lord. You Rang My Lord. It was the icing on the cake. The production values were so high. The wonderful costumes, the fabulous props. It was like being in a real house. On that set, it was terrific.
How long were you working on that show?
It was 4 years. Only 4. We did 4 series, but because it was 40 minutes long, we did 26 episodes altogether in 4 years. But you know, it was big time. It really was. It's very popular still in Europe. I get more fan mail now from Hungary, places like that, watching You Rang My Lord, and Belgium and Holland we've got. It's big over there too. It's great fun. Yes, I have. I know it very well. Yeah. In fact, in 1983, I was honoured to be asked to open that museum officially when Heidi High was big. Yeah. So I went up there with my yellow coat and I cut the ribbon. But they've moved premises now to where the new museum is. And last October, I was able to do the show for them. Right. So I did my one-man play on the stage at the Stan Laurel Museum in Ulster, where he was born, and took a little look at his birthplace as well, which is just round the corner from there.
Those two are just everything. I sit and watch them with my head on.
Oh, they'll never go away. Yeah. They'll be there forever. It's universal, timeless comedy. Yeah. Well, I've always wanted to do a one-man play about Stan Laurel because I've always admired him. He's a tremendous talent, and there are so many things about him that people don't know. And people are saying to me when they've seen the show now, oh, I didn't know that about it, I didn't know that happened, or this happened, or whatever. It's a great story. It's a great story to tell, and people are fascinated by it. You know, I do usually do a Q&A after it, because it's only just short of an hour. So I do an interval, and then I do a Q&A afterwards, and it's amazing the questions I get asked about Laurel and Hardy, things people want to know about but they didn't know before. You know. But it's been so far so good. Fingers crossed. It's been a big success in Edinburgh this year, and we're putting a tour together for next spring. In the meantime, I've got a few dates left in the diary before Panto this year. I knew an awful lot about him. I've known about him all my life. I've got all the books that were ever written about him, of course, both of them. So most of it came out of here anyway. You know. And I found a wonderful writer who wrote the play for me, because I'm not a playwright. Playwriting is a skill, particular art form. And this lady I found quite by accident. It all dropped into place about 2 years ago. But I was the right age to play as well. That makes a big difference. So, yeah, and here we are, a lifetime's ambition.
That sounds marvellous. It sounds marvellous.
Thank you. Yes, I hope it goes on being success. Yes, one or two. I mean, I'm next to Linda here, sitting next to Linda Regan. Nikki Kelly's a friend, she lives near me. Barry Howard's in touch a lot, you know. And Pollard, of course, she's all over the place, and she's hard to pin down, and she's always busy. I don't think I could, you know, I'm not that kind of a performer. I'm an actor, not a comic, and I think you've got to have a lot of improvisational skills to do what they do, and I do admire them for it. But no, I don't think it would have been for me. Mr. Lavender, who's in this room today, said, why not? I mean, people play Macbeth, people play Hamlet, it doesn't matter, people can play Mannering and Wilson and Jones, you know. I wish them well. I can't help feeling it's a bit of a folly somehow, but you know, it might just take us all by surprise. I think I've got a few surprises up their sleeve as well. What they're going to do with it. I'm looking forward to seeing it, I must say. It'll be an interesting experiment.
I think the idea of Bill Nye is...
I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful idea. Bill Nye. Toby Jones is such a clever actor, and I'm sure he'll do a wonderful job with Mannering. But let's just see who they come up with for the rest of the platoon. I'm intrigued now to find out who's in the cast.
Absolutely, yeah.
It might even be me, who knows?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's right.
She's very slim. They made last summer wine. Yeah.
Yes.
I've got crutches.
You have a down. And you only had one photograph? We must take another one. First.